The morning sun spilled across the cracked sidewalk like liquid gold, exposing every flaw the city tried to hide, and in the middle of it all sat a woman wrapped in a torn gray coat, her hair unwashed, her shoes worn through at the soles, looking invisible to everyone rushing past. No one could have guessed that beneath the layers of dirt and exhaustion was Marissa Vale, a billionaire CEO whose name dominated business magazines and boardrooms worldwide, now choosing to sit outside a small roadside diner to see who the world really was when money was stripped away. Before the story goes any further, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and compassion still matters in a hard world, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Dramex Story, because stories like this remind us who we are when no one is watching. Marissa had not come here out of boredom or curiosity alone. She had reached the highest peaks of success before 40, built companies from nothing, employed thousands, and still felt something hollow every time she passed people on the street who looked just like she did now. After a public scandal involving one of her executives mistreating low-wage workers, she decided to step away quietly and test the truth for herself. No assistance, no security, no credit cards, just one day living as someone the world ignored. It was late morning, the kind where the city felt fully awake, horns blaring, doors swinging open, and the smell of frying oil drifting through the air. Inside the diner, the lunch rush had already begun to build. Grease, stained menus, chipped mugs, and tired workers moving faster than their bodies wanted to. Among them was Illy Navarro, a 17-year-old waiter balancing school, bills, and the quiet weight of being the only provider for his younger sister. His uniform was slightly too big. His sneakers held together with glue, and dark circles framed eyes that had learned too early what responsibility felt like. He noticed Marissa outside while wiping down the counter, saw how people stepped around her like she was part of the pavement, and something tightened in his chest. Illy knew hunger. He knew the way dignity eroded when people looked through you instead of at you. His manager had warned him countless times about giving food away, about rules and losses and consequences. But as lunchtime crowds poured in and laughter filled the diner, he couldn't shake the image of the woman sitting alone in the sun, unmoving, waiting for nothing. His hands shook as he filled a paper bag with a sandwich, a bottle of water, and a slice of pie that had been set aside. It wasn't charity in his mind, it was survival passed from one human to another. When he stepped outside, the noise softened. Marissa looked up slowly, bracing herself for rejection or judgment, the kind she had endured all morning. Instead, Illy placed the bag gently beside her, meeting her eyes without pity or fear. He didn't ask questions, he didn't lecture, he simply nodded and walked back inside before his courage could dissolve. Marissa stared at the bag for a long moment, something unfamiliar burning behind her eyes. Not because of the food, but because someone had seen her and acted without expecting anything in return. The rest of the day tested Illy in every possible way. A customer complained loudly about slow service. A tray slipped and shattered. His manager threatened to cut his hours. Each problem stacked on the last until his chest felt heavy and his hope thin. Yet every time he glanced toward the window, he saw Marissa still sitting there, eating slowly, carefully, like every bite mattered. That image grounded him. It reminded him why he endured long shifts and empty wallets. Kindness was the only thing he felt truly rich in. As afternoon light softened and shadows stretched, Marissa stood up, brushing dust from her coat. She walked away without looking back, leaving Illy unaware that his small act had detonated something powerful. That evening, after she cleaned up and returned to her private life, Marissa didn't sleep. She replayed the moment again and again, the effortless generosity of a boy who had nothing to spare and still gave. By sunrise, she had made a decision that would change both their lives. The next day, under the bright honesty of daylight, sleek black cars lined the street outside the diner. People slowed, confused, curious. Marissa walked in transformed, confident, composed, flanked by quiet professionals who commanded attention without saying a word. The diner fell silent. Illy froze mid-step, panic rising as he assumed trouble had finally caught up with him. He expected accusations, consequences, shame. What he received instead was something far heavier. Marissa addressed the room not with anger, but with gratitude, explaining how she had come in disguise, how she had been ignored by dozens, and how one young waiter had treated her like she mattered. She announced the creation of a full scholarship fund in Illy's name, guaranteed education, housing support for his sister, and a paid internship within her company once he came of age. More than that, she pledged to implement mandatory compassion training across all her businesses, rooted in the lesson he taught her on the sidewalk. If this moment is touching your heart even a little, please pause and engage with this video, because stories like Illy's only travel further when people choose to feel them together. The diner erupted into tears, applause, disbelief. Illy stood trembling, overwhelmed, realizing that the world could change in a single moment built from a single choice. Just before the ending, we ask you one special thing. Comment below what kindness means to you, because your words might inspire someone who needs them today. As the sun climbed higher and the city returned to its rhythm, Marissa left knowing she had found what success alone never gave her, and Illy returned to work carrying something heavier than exhaustion and lighter than hope. Proof that even in broad daylight, when the world is watching, quiet kindness can still shock us all.